Hello guys, welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we're talking about HTML SVG. So when we talk about HTML SVG, we're gonna be talking about things related to HTML graphics. But before we move on, like as usual, I would like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, share to friends and family, and also follow us on our social media platform like Facebook by joining our Facebook group. Follow us, like our Facebook page, our Instagram, follow us there, join our Telegram channel. VSKIT, follow us. Our VSKIT ID is Vicsad_academy, and also on LinkedIn. When you search for us, you're gonna see us there. So just follow us on those social media platforms, like them, blah blah blah. So back to our tutorial, I'll be talking about the HTML SVG. What about the HTML SVG? Like I've said earlier, we're gonna be talking about everything related to the HTML SVG is used to do graphics on HTML documents. And the HTML SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphics. So I think let me write that down on our code editor. So going back to Visual Studio Code, I'm just gonna come back here and then use a pre tag. Yeah. Then I'm gonna write SVG means scalable vector graphics. So I'm just gonna clear this off right here. So guys, the SVG means scalable vector graphics. I'm talking about SVG. We're gonna talk about using the HTML to do some simple graphics. So I'm gonna come back here to refresh the page. SVG means scalable vector graphics. So the SVG, you use it to draw shapes, do some graphics. But there's also SVG editor, SVG image editor that can help you to design a lot of graphics and then you save them as SVG, meaning you save them in form of SVG code. So example of them are like Inkscape, Graphics Designer, Boxy SVG, and Sketch. We have a lot more, but those are the one I'm gonna mention in this tutorial. So when we talk about the SVG and you want to use it to draw shapes on the web, you use a lot of codes, a lot of attributes, and some few elements. And also when we talk about this SVG, first thing to know is that the SVG has an opening and a closing tag. So I'm going to go back to my code editor, and then I think for now we should clear this off. Yeah. Okay, let me clear this off. So I'm going to make a comment. So making a comment, let's just give this 2 spaces, like press our space bar twice and 2. So just gonna use my hyphen. We all know this. If you don't know it, then I think you should watch the HTML comment. So back to our HTML SVG. Like I've said earlier, the SVG has the opening and the closing tag. So let me first create my comment and then I put in the opening and the closing tag. Sorry about that, guys. So right now we've created our opening and closing tag for the SVG. So let's move on with the explanation. So when we talk about this SVG, like I've said earlier, that's the opening and the closing tag in which you've done. And also there are some other things you need to know about the SVG. The SVG takes in a lot of tags, and those tags is what will determine the kind of shape you want to draw. Even though in this tutorial I'm just going to be drawing some few shapes. So it takes in like the circle tag or circle element, and this element has holding a opening tag, does not have a closing tag, because XVG is based on XML, extensible markup language. So we also have the rectangle. If you want to draw the rectangle shape, you have the rect tag, which stands for rectangle. We also have the eclipse, and the rectangle element, which is the rect tag, which has an opening tag alone, can also help you to create a square. So as we move on, you're going to understand in this tutorial. And you can also create an eclipse, and the eclipse can also help you to create a circle. So back to our tutorial, I'm going to specify a particular border width and height for our SVG elements. So right here, I'm just going to do that way, and then I'm going to give it width and height. So guys, I paused the video. So after pausing the video, I put in the width and height. So this is the width and height attribute, and then I'm gonna put in the style attribute and then give it a simple CSS styling of border. So let's go there. So I'm gonna give it border. Don't mind that yellow stuff showing. So I'm gonna give it let's give it 5 pixels solid, 5 pixels solid. Okay, let's give it solid green. So guys, I hope you are practicing yours right now. As you're practicing it, I want you to comment in the comment section below what you give your own, whether it's 10 pixels inset pink, or 20 pixels solid red. So guys, I just want you to comment what you give yours, like what you are coding in yours, like your style attributes, what are the value in your style attributes, what you give to your border and everything. So guys, back to this tutorial. I'm going to specify width and height. I'm going to give it a width of 500 pixels and an height of, let's give it 250 pixels. So Ctrl S, and then I'm going to come back here to refresh the page. So right now our SVG has been specified, and we have given it a border, so we can know that our SVG is from here right now to here. So that's where our SVG is. We all know that this is the particular place where SVG is. Everything gonna be drawing is gonna be inside of that box. So back to that Visual Studio Code. I've told you about the rectangle, the ellipse, and also the rectangle circle. So I'm gonna start with the circle. I want to talk about the circle circle SVG, meaning drawing about the circle SVG. It takes a lot of attributes. So let's go on there. About the circle, to create a circle, first of all you need the circle tag, in which I told you does not have a closing tag, and after that you need the x and y coordinates, or the x and y axis, which makes it to have like a 2-dimension for you to position it anyhow inside your SVG element. So when you're talking about the circle, when you want to position it, you have to make use of the CX and the CY, meaning you want to position it to the center of the how can I put it? I want to position it center point of the circle. I want to make the circle move on the x and the y axis, but in the center point of it. So that's why you have to make use of the CX and the CY. And also you need to make use of the fill stroke width. That is the attribute you will need in, let me say, all of the XVG graphics we're going to be creating. Because when you talk about the fill, it means which color do you want the shape to have. Talk about the stroke, we're talking about the like outline, like the border of the shape. So which outline do you want it to have? Is it color green, on blue, pink, aqua, lime, whatever. And also when you talk about the stroke width, means how do you want, like which amount of width do you want to give to the stroke. That's is the work of the stroke width. So as we are going on, you're going to understand better. And also when you talk about the R radius, which is represented by R attribute, it means how big do you want your circle to be. The radius, should it be really big, you should be small, or whatever. So guys, I'm just going to create a very simple circle here, and I'm going to create up like 3 circles right now. So let's check, let's code. When let's check. So first of all, we're going to create the circle tag, which does not have a closing tag. So right now created the circle tag, and then I'm going to put in all attributes I've mentioned. First of all, the CX, the CY, which allows you to position your circle wherever place you want to position it inside the SVG element. So right now I'm going to put in my R radius, and then I'm going to put in the essential one that you almost, or you will see in almost every XVG shapes. That is the stroke width and the fill. So right now our circle is ready to be displayed in our web browser. Since we have all necessary elements, the only problem right now is for us to fix in the values to the necessary attributes. So let's fill in the attribute necessary let's fill in the value to the necessary attributes. So first of all, I'm going to give this okay, let me think about it. Let's give it light green. Let's check whether that's gonna work. We should change it to dark green. Yeah, let's check it to dark green. Yeah, so I'm gonna give this a stroke width of 10. That's 10 pixels. I'm gonna give it a stroke of, okay, let's give it a stroke of dark blue. And then I'm gonna give it a radius of 50 pixels, and then I'm gonna position it. The CY, that's the y-axis. That's something related to the height. So if our SVG total height is 250, I think we should give this and something like 150. And I'm gonna give our CX, which is related to the width, whether it should be in the left hand side, middle, or the right hand side. So I'm gonna give that something of 250. And then Control S. Then let's go check out if it's gonna work, and by God's grace it's gonna work. Yes, we have a circle right here. We can see our circle, which has a stroke width of 10 pixels, a stroke of dark blue, a fill of dark green, and also is positioned to somewhere the center of the SVG. So I think we should just raise it up a little bit by increasing the CY, which is the X axis. So let's just give something like 200. So wow, it's going down. So I think we need to bring down the number. And sorry about the sound, that's just a vehicle, a commercial bus passing. So sorry about the sound. So I'm gonna just change this to like 100. Wow, so let's give it something like 330. Yes, it looks as if it's in the center of this box, and I love it. It is very, very great and wonderful. So guys, this is the first circle we'll be creating, but I want us to touch every other part of the tutorial, like the rectangle and the eclipse. Then we come back to create multiple of them. So guys, let's move back to that of the rectangle. We're still going to come back for the circle. So when we talk about the rectangle, the rectangle is also a shape, and the SVG can be used to create this type of shape too. Now when we talk about the rectangle shape under the SVG, we need to make use of some attributes that are a little bit different from that we used in the circle. We need to make use of the plane X and Y axis. We don't need to put RX or CX or CY. And also we need to make use of the width and height attribute, because it is rectangle, not circle. We need to also make use of the normal one I've told you about, the fill, stroke, and the stroke width. And also if we want the borders to be rounded, we need to make use of the RX and RY, which is rounded border, like rounded border in the x-axis, rounded border in the y-axis of that particular rectangle shape. So guys, let's move there. So guys, right now I'm just going to create another XVG element. So I'm just going to copy and paste this. So guys, I'm just going to change this to rec, because that's the tag rect. And then I'm gonna clear off this C, and then I'm gonna clear off this C also, and then I'm gonna leave the stroke and the stroke width. Okay, so right in here I'll just change it to width and height attribute. So guys, permit me. Yeah, so this, oh god. So guys, that is the width and height attribute. So for you to create a rectangle, we need the x-axis, like the x coordinate, the y, the width, the height, the stroke width, and the fill, which are the necessary attributes for you to create a rectangle shape with the SVG element. So So guys, right now I'm just gonna fill this. So I'm just gonna be I want it to be as long as like 150 pixels, and the height should be around let's give something like 70 pixels, and then on the stroke, let's just leave the color and everything like that. So guys, let's check this out. It's gonna work. So I'm just gonna save the code right now, and then after saving it, just gonna run it on the web browser. Wow, that was wonderful. That was incredible. So we have a rectangle there right now. So remember, I said we can also create a rounded rectangle, but before we do that, I'm just going to create another XVG element in which we're going to create a square, and the square can be created through the rectangle. All you need to do is that you need to adjust your width and height. So guys, I'm just going to give it SVG3. So I'm just going to adjust the width and height, and for me to adjust the width and height, I'm going to adjust it in such a way it's going to give us a square shape. So I think let's just give them 50-50, because in mathematics a square has all sides equal, so all sides must be equal to create a square shape. So let's just give this 50. So Control S, and I'm just going to come back here to refresh the page. So we have the square. So if we have to make the square more big, let's just give it like 150. So Control C, and I'm going to come back here, Control V S, and then wow, our square is really big, but it's out of the border because we've not arranged it in a very good X and Y coordinate. So right now I'm just gonna give it a very good X and Y coordinate, so it could be in a very good and better position. So I think giving it a 250 for the width is good, so you just have to increase that of the height to 200. So Control S, and then I'm gonna come back here to refresh the page. You can see it's going down. Then we have to give it something like, wow, 50. Okay, I need to change the that of the x-axis. I need to decrease to something like let's give something like okay. I think 100 should be okay. Oh, 150. Yeah, I think this is good. So right now we've created a circle, rectangle, square. Then we need to take create a rounded square, and then we're gonna move to the eclipse. So after that, we're gonna go back to that of circle, create some multiple circle inside a SVG field, and also gonna create a multiple square, a multiple rectangle, and also a multiple rounded square and rectangle. So let's do that very quick. So guys, back to this. I'm just gonna move. Okay, so sorry about that noise. So guys, I'm just gonna create another rectangle, but I'm gonna make it to be in form of a square. I'm gonna make it have a rounded border. So I'm gonna just change this to 4, and then gonna add our RX and RY. Here the RX and RY is making our shape to have a rounded border in the X axis, the Y axis, like I mean the X and the Y coordinates. So now let's just give this an RX of okay, 20 should be okay, and then want this to be, no, it'll be 20 or so, so it's gonna rhyme. So I think right now we copied and pasted from this SVG3 to SVG4, meaning the shape is gonna be square, and the square is gonna have a rounded border. So Control S. Remember, you can also use CSS in doing this, or when you are doing about the border radius. You want your div or your shape to have a rounded border. CSS. So guys, we have a square with the rounded border and very equal. So let's change the RY, which is the radius of the X or Y coordinate, the Y axis. So let's just give it something like 50, and then Control S. Wow, that is wonderful. Can you see what we've created? It's very, very wonderful. So guys, moving to the next one, which is going to be the last one before we start creating multiple of them, is that of the okay, eclipse. So I'm just going to copy and paste this. Yeah, man. So I'm just going to change this to eclipse. Yeah, that's the name of the tag. And remember that every tag inside of this svg does not have a closing tag, except maybe there's some other closing, but the one we're going to be talking about in this tutorial does not have a closing tag. Everything has only an opening tag and takes in a lot of attributes. So for me to just make this thing very easy for you to see, just break this down here and just come back here and break this down, and then I'm gonna come back to this height stuff, everything, and break it down. So I'm just gonna drag this downward and then break that down. So guys, I've done the x, the y, the rx, and the so that's for the xvg4. But when we talk about this xvg4, it's eclipse. So the eclipse does not make use of the x or y attribute, but makes use of the cx and the cy, meaning you want to position it to a very central point, like central point of the x-axis, central point of the y-axis, just like the circle. And also it makes use of the rx and the ry. But when we talk about the rx and ry, it's also does perform something similar to that of the rectangle by making it have the large amount of the x, like the way you want to make it to be more big. It does not make use of the radius. You know, in that of the rectangle, the rx and ry may make it have a like cornered radius of a stuff, but in the eclipse it will make it have make that radius of the x more big, radius of the y more big, and that makes the eclipse more big. So if you want your eclipse to be small, you have to give it a small value in the rx and the ry, and then your eclipse is going to be small. If you want it to be big, and then you have to increase or give the large value in the rx and the ry, and then your eclipse is going to be big. So guys, back to this, I'm just going to give it a very simple stuff, man. So we have the cx, the cy, rx, ry, width, and I think everything is complete right now. So I just gonna have to change it to eclipse. And remember, the eclipse does not make use of the width and height attributes, so I'm just gonna clear up the width and height attributes, because the work the rx and the ry is performing is the same thing the width and height is performing in that of rectangle. So I'm just gonna clear it. So Ctrl S, and I pray this works, because by God's grace it's gonna work. So we have an eclipse here right now, but it's not well positioned. So these are the shapes you're going to be creating in this tutorial under the HTML SVG. And when we talk about the SVG, there's one thing I want you to notice, that is the rx and ry. When we talk about the rx and the ry in the rectangle element, just to create an octagonal square, it is used to create a rounded border. But in that of the eclipse, it's used to create an horizontal or vertical, radius, like how you want the shape to be big. So if I'm going to change the rx as the radius horizontally, I'm just going to need to change, I think that should be my rx. Yeah, so when I change this, the radius of the eclipse is going to be more big. So let's change it to something like 100. You can see that my eclipse is more big. So the rx and the ry does something a little bit different in the aspect of eclipse and aspect of rectangle. So right now we're going to create the multiple shapes, and in creating these multiple shapes, I want you to know that a bug is going to happen right now, and then we're going to debug the bug. So guys, let me just break this down here. So I'm just going to copy this, Ctrl V, and then I'm just going to let's change the color. let's give it something like dark blue, and I'm just gonna give this something like green. So I'm just gonna come back here and refresh the page, then zoom up, like scroll up. Then you can see that the second shape is not appearing, and this is why I said there's gonna be a bug. Remember, I didn't really emphasize on it, but I said that the SVG is a, I can say, is an element mostly under the extensible markup language, that's XML. I want to talk about the XML. When you write some codes like the break tag or that of the SVG, in SVG when you want to write your code and does not have a closing tag, you need to make use of the forward slash also inside the opening tag, since it does not have a closing tag. So that's this. So because this does not appear in the code, two shapes cannot appear in a single SVG element, and this is because the SVG is not really an HTML element but an XML element. So I'm just going to Ctrl S and then refresh the page, and then you can see that there's a little bit in difference. So I'm just going to copy this, Ctrl C, and then add it to this, Ctrl S, and then I think we should just take it away from that particular central point. So let's just give this something of 350, and then we should give this something of 150. So Ctrl S, and then I'm going to come back here to refresh the page. So you can see the two shapes. This is as a result of the forward slash you added. So make sure you add your forward slash in all your SVG codes, especially the elements or the tags are inside the SVG elements. But in that of normal HTML, things like the break tag, and it does not have that, stuff like this. This is how it is. It does not have a forward slash, but because SVG is no an HTML element, but for an XML extensible markup language, you have to make use of the forward slash so as to make your code to work. So guys, I'm gonna clear that off and then come back here. No, let me just come back here. Forward slash. So yeah, I'm gonna make use of the color. So let me change this color to that of light green, and I should make put in a very dark color, like I think let's put in black. So you can see that the shape has changed. So I'm just going to move it away from that particular spot. So you're going to see the two shapes together. So I'm talking about SVG2, HTML SVG2 right now. So guys, let's just give this something of 180. Ctrl S, and then come back here to refresh the page. Oh, sorry about that. So you can see the two together. So I'm just trying to position it anyhow so as to know that so as to make you know that you can position it anywhere, anyhow, inside your SVG element, your SVG element. So moving to the next one, I'm just gonna copy this, Ctrl C, come back here, and then Ctrl V. Then I'm just gonna give it I think we should give it blue to give that green. So I'm just gonna I think I should move it away and give this something of 150 also, and then gonna go back, refresh the page. Okay, it's not gonna work because I didn't put my forward slash. So you can see that. So I'm gonna create a rounded border rectangle this time around, meaning I'm just gonna increase the width and height of that rectangle. Then I'm gonna give it light green, and then this should be dark blue. Let's do it that way, and then increase the width and height of it. So the width should be 150. I think the height should be 50, and then we should position it to something of 70. Make sure you put your forward slash. Control S, go back, Control R to refresh the page. Wow, I was putting a period instead of forward slash. So Control S, come back here, refresh the page, and you can see. So I think I should shift or move that particular shape away from that particular spot. So I'm gonna move it the x-axis by me giving this something of 100, Control S, and then go back to refresh the page. So I think that's good. So let's do the milestone right now. This is an eclipse. Okay, but also remember this is a rectangle and this is a square, but we created both using the rect tag, which is the rectangle element. So back to the that of the eclipse, is going to be the last one. So guys, I'll talk about this eclipse one of a thing. Just gonna do, let's give this pink, and let's give that line. Okay, and also I'm not gonna change the RX and RY. I'm just gonna change the CX and the CY, meaning I want to move it away from that particular spot in which the first eclipse is staying. So I'm just gonna give this something of 20, 150. So Control S and then come back to refresh the page. It's not gonna work, yeah, because we didn't make use of our forward slash. So right now I'm just gonna refresh the page. So we have that right there, so we can begin to just shift it to the center point in which we're gonna see the whole shape. But I hope you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share to friends and family, and also follow us on our social media platform. Facebook, by joining our Facebook group, like our page. On Instagram, follow us on Instagram, like all our posts, and also on Telegram, join our Telegram channel. On LinkedIn, follow us, VSKIT. Our VSKIT ID is Vicsad_academy. Make sure you comment on all our videos, I mean all, and also like all of our posts on Instagram. God bless you all. Watch out for the next tutorial.